On May 1st, we recorded this episode on mental health in the music industry, and just 2 short days later, we received the tragic news that Pierce Fulton had passed away after a tragic struggle with mental health. I had met Pierce a couple times before, and I could call him a friend, and he always showed up with the brightest smile on his face and exuded passion in his craft, and it is a tragedy that he will not be here with us to learn how much his music has truly meant to us over the years, especially as we go back into live shows. We will have links below to organizations that support mental health if you are able to donate or support. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. Welcome back to another exciting episode of EDM Chatters. Today's episode, not something exciting, but it's a topic we need to address: DJ burnout and mental health. As a reminder, kind viewers, please like and subscribe so you always know when we put out new videos, and follow us on Twitch so you don't miss out on a live stream. So, it's been a week since Porter Robinson's Nurture dropped, and we wanted to do an episode on Nurture, but we figured at this point, everything that's been said is going to be said, right? Like, when this video comes out, Nurture is going to be about 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks old. Like, what we say isn't going to change how you feel about the album with that much time. So, when we thought about that, we thought about, well, we want to do something on Nurture, but we want to, like, expand it into a broader sense. So, we wanted to talk about DJ burnout and mental health because that's something that Porter himself spoke about in various interviews when he was talking about the making of this album. Yeah. So in a Pitchfork article on in the Pitchfork article on Nurture, they say, but 7 years of creative blocks, self-doubt, and mental health struggles have altered Robinson's perspective. His second album, Nurture, explores the difficulty of finding fulfillment and plumbs the joyful realization that the world he wanted to create was always right in front of him. The album's tagline underscores its aims succinctly: everything we need is already here. So, for those who don't know, after Worlds, Porter was not doing fantastic mentally. There was a lot of pressure from fans to basically create a Worlds 2. Worlds was such a phenomenal album, and I think for a lot of people, even after Nurture, they're still going to go and look back at Worlds as like sort of a pinnacle of his career.
And that's like a baseline, right? Like, you know, like a standard Porter sound or something.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's caused a lot of like internal strife for him, and he was trying to create this world again, and when you put out an album that's that good, like, the sophomore slump or the sophomore yips hit you really fucking hard, and with pressure from fans and the pressure you put on yourself to please those fans, and not to mention touring that album and show for like 5 years, like, it puts a lot of pressure on yourself, and we don't give these DJs and producers enough credit for the amount of work that they do. I just remembered when we interviewed Vincent as one of our very first guests, we talked about the tour life and, you know, what you might expect. And he mentioned, like, it's a lot of going to shows, going back to the hotel, hopping on a plane, going to the next show. Like, it's not as glamorous as the world makes it out to be. So by 2016, Robinson had been working on a new album for 2 years and had maybe a couple ideas to show for it, says Billboard. Thinking that he just wasn't working hard enough, he cut out everything in his life that didn't have to do with music. Friends, fun, life experiences that might actually give him inspiration. Of course, it didn't help. And then circumstances grew darker later that year when his younger brother Mark was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. So life is going to happen to you no matter what, and the pressures that you continue to put on yourself are only going to serve to compound those issues, and mental health and DJ burnout are a very, very, very real thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's really interesting, like, watching these interviews with Porter. And, you know, I took some of these quotes from a few of these articles, but they also go into, like, what kind of got him out of that slump, right? immediately after Worlds, he was trying to like get some ideas down, trying to get some things through or whatever. But you kind of see this evolution, like these steps he took, like Virtual Self. That project was really a way for him to kind of get away from the Porter Robinson, like quote unquote, like style of music, if you will, right? And obviously Virtual Self is just like this Y2K almost like aesthetic, and like, I don't know, just kind of like an experiment going back to that sort of sound that it's almost akin to like DDR music, right? Of that era,
absolutely.
of the 90s and early 2000s. And which I'm sure he said before, that's like what he grew up on in terms of like his first interactions with EDM music. But then he also goes into like, falling in love with his girlfriend now, and like that providing information or inspiration for the new album. And slowly but surely he's mentioned like him just experiencing life and kind of pushing like a lot of the work that he needs to do, like a lot of the work that he did, like I guess immediately after Worlds, like was what helped him write Nurture, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. And we started off with Nurture as a starting point because the album just came out, and we all need sort of like a stepping stone to get into the topic. But there are so many other DJs who have dealt with DJ burnout and mental health issues, and a lot of them are also very high profile, which I think the fact that we've become so open about it, especially with the advent of Twitter and just talking to fans directly, the fact that we can be so open about it and talk about it openly and kind of remove the stigma around mental health has helped a lot of people to recognize, like, hey, maybe this is something that's going on in my own life. I mean, Avicii, I think, was one of the very first examples of an artist who burned out and had some mental health issues, and struggling with fame in the limelight. Like, he became really big really fast, and of course his unending schedule of tours and problems with alcohol, and among other health problems, took a toll on him both mentally and physically. And the True Stories documentary does a great job of chronicling all this. It's worth a watch. It's a lesson to be learned. It's an opportunity to take that lesson and take it to heart and think that maybe, if you're working a little too hard, take a step back. Like, it's okay if you just take some time for yourself. Like, I am one of the biggest proponents of personal time. Like, I set times for myself where I'm not working. And no matter what you need, like, if it's something urgent and I can do it in 5 minutes, maybe. But if it's past 6, 7 p.m., I'm not working. That is me time. That is me time. And that is for my own personal and mental health. And I think that needs to be more common. We also have examples from Cookie Monster, who unfortunately passed away last year. He announced he was taking a break from touring to focus on his mental health back in 2019. In May, almost a full year before the pandemic, he says, "For the past year, I've been struggling with mental health issues. Over the recent weeks and months, this has become harder than ever. I've not been online recently, and as I've been trying to work through my problems away from the glare of social media. Unfortunately, I've not made as much progress as I've hoped, so I've decided that I need to take a longer break from the scene. It's with a heavy heart. I have to tell you that I'll not be performing at any of the forthcoming shows, including my appearances on the Circus 10 Years tour. I will continue making music, making and releasing music. Beyond that, I look forward to being back out to see you soon when I'm better." Cookie Monster tragically died last year, and it's an unfortunate example of what can happen even when you do your best to address, your mental health. And, not all these stories, have happy endings.
I think the pandemic definitely like amplified not only like the importance of recognizing mental health, but also conditions that have already been there. And I mean, I don't know what Cookie Monster like had been going through or what he was going through at the time, but like that is also another example. Like the fact that we were locked down for so many months, like I mean the whole fucking year, like you know, right? Like
it wasn't easy for anyone. Like some people had it easier, but no one went into the pandemic and was like, yeah, this is a breeze. Like, nah, it rocked a lot of us, like really hard. Like, I can say personally, I had some really dark days, and you know, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, I don't know about you, Vince, but my immediate friend group is all vaccinated, and we've been meeting up almost every weekend, and we've been having a really good time. Just we haven't been going anywhere. We've basically been going to each other's houses, but I think having that core group of friends is essential to mental health and to making sure that you are being held accountable for your own mental health, and just, you know, keep and just staying healthy and happy. I think it's really important.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we have some other stories here, but I will share like that year was pretty brutal, like for me as well. Like while I was living in Santa Barbara, I was, you know, 5 hours away from my girlfriend, like working from home. I was like we couldn't go outside, obviously. Like I couldn't really interact with my friends, obviously. Like and not only that, it was just like hard creatively. Like I do motion design, or I do creative stuff like full time as a job, and yeah, it was really hard at that time. And I mean, even when 2021 rolled around, like once I moved up here, I definitely had some darker days, like where I just had to like step back from social media for a bit, like creatively and stuff. Like I will say, like I like a lot of the stuff that I put out, like I had to delete it. I just like hated literally everything that I put out, and I just deal with, like, for example, how like Instagram works, and like how like everything else, or how other like social platforms work. And yeah, I don't know, like recently I've like stepped back into social media and like trying to interact with people and stuff, and in a more positive way. It's kind of flipped. Like I hate Instagram now and I love EDM Twitter. It's like amazing. Like kind of interacting with like more Kismet and or like other artists too. I've just found like after Secret Sky happened, like I felt rejuvenated. Like
Secret Sky was the most wholesome I have ever seen EDM Twitter.
Oh my god, dude. Like
it was, everyone was coming together and just gushing about these sets and being so wholesome and crying, and you saw artists doing it, you saw fans doing it. Like if EDM Twitter could be like Secret Sky every day, the world would be a better place.
Yeah, and the fact that like I wish we could do like a Secret Sky like review episode. Like I wish we did it like after the festival, but like but the lineup for Secret Sky is just so cool. It was just so diverse in terms of like the music and like the artistic nature of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And it was just so inspiring to see that. And then like I go into like these like deep internet like rabbit holes where I'm like, ooh, like who did the visuals for like Porter's set or whatever, and who did the visuals for blah blah blah, and like I just like found so much, like there's just so many more things to get into and like discover and like research. And I was like, oh my god, like what's this aesthetic and what's this like art style, and like I just felt so much more rejuvenated after that, right? And
absolutely,
like we could talk forever about it, but yeah, I don't know, like I feel so much better like mentally after that festival.
So I think the takeaway from all of this is that taking time for yourself is important. I think surrounding yourself with people who are able to influence you positively and check up on your mental health is very important. I think knowing how to set limits for yourself and reasonable expectations It's very important. And we're going to have some other resources available in the description below. Just to, you know, maybe meditation, some, you know, talk spaces, places to just kind of get your headspace clear and calm. But we've had enough loss over the past year. Hundreds of thousands of people have been lost to COVID or to mental illness or to burnout. And we don't want that anymore. We want to be as happy and proactive and supportive as possible to make sure that this scene remains strong and has some longevity, and we get some really amazing music once festival season comes back.
Yeah.
So that does it for EDM Chatters. I hope you enjoyed our ramblings and maybe learned a thing or two. Don't forget to like and comment on this video and subscribe to our channel and follow our Twitch for more EDM content. And if you do have any mental health concerns, if you just need someone to talk to, do not be afraid to reach out to a friend, family, even us. Our DMs are open. You know, if we have the time, we'd be happy to hear what's going on and, you know, see if we can do anything to help, because we're all in this together.
Definitely.
We'll see you in the next one, guys.
See you guys.